Let's talk about this opinion poll, which basically says what 80+% of people expect the federal government to spend what they can to help when it comes to cost of living. James, philosophically, I understand why people want as much relief as possible from government, but that basically is a green light to Jim Chalmers going into a pre-election budget, not just to spend, but to buy votes.
Yeah, and this was no small survey either. I think they sampled 5,000 people. To just think that 88% of some people think that this is acceptable to just rack up debt on the credit card at whatever expense, leave it for future generations. Mate, there's only one way this is going to go, and that's higher taxes. Someone's got to pay for this. And we all know that we've got $1 trillion worth of debt on our hands. $50 billion worth of interest is what we'll pay next year. Someone's already paying for it. And look, it's easy to say, yeah, rack it up, but at the end of the day, we're all on the hook for it. I don't think there'd be a person that watches this show that thinks it's acceptable just to continue spend. Mate, I met a few of your biggest fans from Cairns in this last week, and it's just common sense people that watch these programs. But clearly, there's a lot of other people that don't share that common sense, like you and I. So, look, this is frightening for anyone who's a taxpayer. It's okay if you're about to retire because the handouts may come in the way of, pensions and that sort of thing. But while they're spending big bucks, you're never going to get big raises in your pension, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Nicholas, whether this is just the fundamental design flaw in the way that we work our politics, right? Which is, if you ask people, do you want the government to bring down the debt? Oh, absolutely, right? But should they cut anything? Absolutely not. Do you demand action on climate change? Absolutely. But are you willing to pay for it? No. And we are, again, this will be absolutely interpreted by Chalmers as go hard, right? And to give somebody that permission slip this close to an election, I'm concerned. I'm genuinely concerned because here's the thing. I mean, as you know, in Victoria, right, Labor Party's been re-elected multiple times, but the joint is now stuffed financially in a real pickle at the moment because of the financial decisions made by governments who have just chosen spend and vote.
Yeah, well, there's the policy and the politics here, isn't there? I mean, it's not good policy to go spraying money across the electorate in handouts. You're only going to drive inflation, drive up interest rates and actually leave household budgets in a worse condition. However, good governments can do targeted measures which, if structured in the right way, can help out the family budget and also do some good for the economy. Focusing housing initiatives, for example, on increasing supply rather than just loading people up with more cash to bid at the next auction they go to is a much better way of approaching housing affordability. Similarly, targeting things like, medicines or education expenditure is better off than just spraying money any which way. Now, the politics here, I think you've analysed it pretty well. I think people want to have everything. And so the idea of cost of living relief at the current time is pretty potent politically. But again, the government's got to be careful. I remember Kevin Rudd, one of the best lines he had in the 2007 election where he defeated John Howard. And Howard went into that election promising the world all sorts of tax cuts and spending initiatives. And Rudd said the spend-a-thong has to stop. And it was very potent.
But did it?
Through, and it was part of the success for...
It didn't, though.
Well, Rudd went on to win that election, obviously. So I guess the key point I'm trying to make is Australians are crying out for cost of living relief, and it is possible to do that if you structure it in the right way, and you don't overdo it, of course.